Oregon goes to Michigan. Oregon, 15.5-point favorite, 3:30 Eastern, CBS at the Big House. I have to say it every time. I know we're in week 10, but I still have to say this. I miss the SEC on CBS jingle. I get it. I know it still has it with the Big Ten games, but it just doesn't totally hit the same way. Michigan now, back on track. Back on track with a win over Michigan State. And it's great to beat your rival. Totally get that. But I think the thing that stood out to me even more than them just beating Michigan State was you saw a little bit of an edge from Michigan again, right? You saw the trick play, Donovan Edwards just throwing a touchdown pass to Colston Loveland. That was cool. You see some juice there. But, I never want to, glorify fighting because I think, fighting should happen in the octagon and MMA and not in college football. But you saw Michigan show a little bit of juice there at the end of the game when Michigan State's going back and forth. Now, I don't want to just give a broad strokes take on that because we've seen that there's some ugly stuff that's happened within this rivalry when it comes to fight. So I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I am saying seeing some pride, some metaphorical fight from Michigan. I think if you're a Michigan fan, that's been missing, and I think that was needed in terms of how they looked against Michigan State. College football sickos, make sure to subscribe right here to the On3 YouTube channel. No hot takes, no clickbait, no traffic for traffic's sake, just ball and only ball the way that you want it talked about. Thank you for being subscribed. The Hard Count brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. $5 in lineups when you play. Using code HARDCOUNT gets you $50 in promo funds. Y'all have crushed it using that code. Great way to support the show. Great way to let the people at Prize Picks know that you're dialed in. So we appreciate you using that code, and we appreciate you being subscribed. Back to the prediction. Now, Oregon, man, they have been a train since the Ohio State game. And I think the thought for a lot of us after Ohio State was, okay, well, where's the letdown? Because you give all this effort, you empty the tank, and then you go play on a Friday night against Purdue on the road. Letdown spot, right? No, they absolutely rolled. Okay, well, Illinois now. Maybe it was just a week delayed. Illinois is coming to town, and Illinois now, top 25 football team, right? They're pretty good. Illinois did not hold a candle to what Oregon was doing that day. So Oregon right now, the point I'm trying to make here is Dan Lanning has them looking just machine-like. We'll talk more about that later in this segment, but Oregon's a problem. Oregon is very much so a problem, and we have not seen that letdown come from them just yet. So I don't think we're going to see that when it comes to this game. Michigan, 15.5 points. A lot of big spreads this week, so we're just kind of unpacking how the upset would happen. If we're Michigan, can we run the football? You're back to Davis Warren at quarterback now, found a way to win the football game. I love that for Davis Warren. We are just transparently Davis Warren stands on this show for just how he operates, everything he's done to get to this point where he's at. But you win this football game because you're able to impose your will on the line of scrimmage and go back to old Michigan. I say old Michigan, Michigan from a year ago. That would be how Michigan wins this football game. So looking at that backfield, looking at big Max Bredesen, I need just smash mouth. I need us to just empty the tank. I need us to dig deep. In Oregon now, it's fair to say, if you squint and look at the box score, which is a dangerous game to play, the box score, as Jake Crane would say, friend of the show, it is a preview. It is not the end-all, be-all for the movie. But the previews are telling you that Oregon gave up over 200 yards on the ground to Purdue. Now, they shut out Purdue, so take of that as you will. A lot of backups, I think, responsible for that number. In Illinois, they allowed over 130 yards on the ground, 4 yards a carry to be specific. So the personnel probably favors Oregon, but you can squint and see a very, very narrow pathway now to where if Michigan can run the football, get a chance to shorten the game. More importantly, get a chance to keep your offense on the field and keep Dylan Gabriel off the field. This game, if Michigan's going to win, it has got to just be gross. Your school lunch that you found in the back of your car for the last 2 weeks, gross. It has to be just revolting. That's how this would end up favoring Michigan. In addition to that, I need some Colston Loveland magic here. I love the fact they got him involved last week with the halfback pass. That was cool. Need more of that. Need more of that. I'm not saying you need more halfback passes, but I think you got to move Colston Loveland around like the chess piece that he is, find the matchup. And then when you have the matchup, we got to hit it. Okay? It can't be this thing where it's let's come back to that later in the game. There is no later in this game if you're Michigan. The margin for error is 0. So Davis Warren can't throw interception, can't have a fumble. It's got to be, yes, no turnovers, but even more so when there is money on the table. I don't know how often that's going to happen. When there's a shot to be hit, got to hit it. Because I don't think Dan Lanning will give you the opportunity to take advantage of his defense more than once. I'll say that much with Colston Loveland. So that's kind of my issue when we talk about this upset, man. Like, I think with all those things I mentioned, I don't see a world where Michigan wins this football game without Oregon taking their eye off the ball. We had Dylan Gabriel on the show last week, so go check out that interview if you haven't already. But, like, it's not just a Dan Lanning thing where he's talking to the media and putting on this front of like, hey, we don't care about being number one. We're locked in. I think the players genuinely buy into that and feel that way. And the fact that your leader in Dylan Gabriel has been in a position like this before at Oklahoma where vibes are great, they're undefeated, he's in that Heisman conversation, and then they lose that, that's experience that I'm sure Dylan Gabriel would like to not have experienced what he experienced last year at Oklahoma with the letdown of how they played. But I think ultimately that benefits your team in this spot because he can help you guard against that. Like, he doesn't want to feel that twice, I promise you. So I think they're just machine-like. I think they're mechanic. And I think that overall, man, the horsepower of Oregon with what they are offensively is just too much. Because the opportunity for Michigan now is, hey, we got some NFL D linemen on this squad, 100%. But guess what? We're putting the ball in the perimeter to Tez Johnson right away. It is catch, rock, throw right away, Evan Stewart. And so you have that going. So where you're running sideline to sideline, if you're the Michigan defensive line, we're all human now. I understand, Kenneth Grant is from Krypton. I get it. But, like, at some point in time, the lungs, man, they start to feel something, all right? Start to wear down a little bit over the course of a game. When that happens, Oregon has proven now Will Stein likes to get you going east and west with the whether it be the jet sweep game, whether it be the outside zone, whether it be the quick pass game, and then they go north and south. And then it's downhill at you with bad intentions. And now on top of that, we've seen Dylan Gabriel, the next level of that is they will make you pay deep and pop the top on your defense convertible style, and it's wide open. So all that's to say, man, I don't see a situation, especially if Will Johnson isn't 100%, or worst case scenario for Michigan, if he's not available in this game. Again, we're doing this right now live, right around noon Eastern. If it's that way for Michigan, I don't know how you keep pace with Oregon, and I just think it ends up being just a tricky spot for me to find a way where Michigan wins this football game. So 15.5 is a lot. I think Oregon wins this game definitively. I'll go ahead and say Oregon wins. I'll take Michigan to cover. I could see a very 34-20 kind of score. I could see a last-second field goal. Not last-second. A fourth-quarter field goal by Michigan, kind of putting this thing into a coverage zone for them. But at the end of the day, again, the Oregon talent, the approach, the matchup schematically, I think Oregon's got too much there. Even with it being in the big house, I will take Oregon to win, and we'll go ahead and take Michigan to cover.